how do you work this system?
So quite
It's
literally,
like,
just so everybody knows, we both literally came back from a week vacation this week, and so we're kind of like trying to remember, how do we job?
yeah, how do we job? What buttons do we push?
I don't remember.
So
again, guys, getting into it, Medicare supplements versus Medicare Advantage, a huge topic right now because we are in a really changing, shifting, interesting industry. And a lot of the questions that you guys have are the same questions that we're asking our experts. And that is, what's going on with the Medicare supplement industry? Are we going to see Medicare supplements fade out? Answer is no. Is the Medicare Advantage growth sustainable, and what is this going to look like in years to come? And when does my client go from a MedSup to Medicare Advantage? Should they? These are the three questions that you guys are probably asking that we are going to answer today. Number one, do I really need to offer both? Can I be a MedSup shop or can I be a Medicare Advantage shop? Number two, what's the better option for my clients? Are my clients going to be better suited going and paying a higher premium with a MedSup, or are they somebody who maybe is more interested in financing their own healthcare? And number three, what's better for my business? Obviously, we all have the same goal. We want to do what's best for our clients, want to do what's best for the end user. But at the end of the day, like, you need to be making sure that you're making money and not losing money or losing out on an opportunity because you're selling one product over the other. So this is what we're going to cover today.
Yeah.
Let's start off with the first question is, should I offer? I'm going to sit closer to you.
Sure.
I did
Come
shower.
on over.
I just feel like I've missed you
Really,
this last
yeah,
week.
I know.
So so this is actually something that I think, so I started in the industry back in 2013, and we used to work with organizations that they only did MedSup or they only did Medicare Advantage plans. And they had a lot of things to say about the people who offered the opposite product. Those days are gone. I am firmly in the camp that if you are an insurance agency and you're going to be helping consumers, I don't care what state, county, area, I don't care about any of that. You really need to be offering both Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage plans in your agency.
Mm-hmm. I saw a LinkedIn post yesterday of someone that used to work with us, Mike Gatorna. He used to do lots of training, so if you've been around for a while, then you know, but he was specifically talking about cross-selling, but I think that it really applies here. He said, if you're not cross-selling, or, if you're only offering a very limited amount of products, that's you saying that, like, your clients don't deserve to know all of the options that they actually have.
Mm-hmm.
And that might feel like a little aggressive, but it's very true, especially whenever down the road, at your competitor, they are giving them all of the options. So if you're only offering one or the other, that's you basically saying, like, I would rather just keep you in a camp rather than tell you how I can actually help you out here. And moving on to a next point, which you'll hear a lot throughout here, is one is not one size fits all. Medicare Advantage is not that way. Medicare supplements are not that way. There's which one is, I'm jumping ahead.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're here for it. But it brings up an excellent point that a MedSup is not a better product than a Medicare Advantage. Mm-hmm. Medicare Advantage is not better than a MedSup. They are different products for different types and different clients are going to value different things.
Yes.
So that is something that I think is worth why you do need to have both options, regardless it's not about how you want to sell, it's about how they want to buy.
Right.
And it's always, because here's the thing, today's consumer, I will say this, they are given more resources and they are more educated than ever because of Google, because of advertisements, because of their friends talking about it. They come to you. It used to be that a consumer would come to you and you would have to teach them everything and there'd be nothing. They now come to you and they think they have an understanding. And the thing is, like, it may be correct, it may be incorrect. So the job is no longer, I have to sell this person a MedSup or Medicare Advantage. Your job as an agent is to educate your clients to help them come up with an educated decision. It's no longer selling, it truly is advising.
Right.
So that is, I will also say, offering one versus the other is kind of like, it used to be back in, before you would go to a butcher shop for your meats, you would go to a bakery for your breads and your cakes, you would go to a stand person for, a food stand person, that's what I'm trying to say.
I thought you said stand person. I was like, yeah,
for your
there's
cucumbers.
Probably someone out there that sells sand.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you go to your stand person to buy your cucumbers. That's not how it works anymore. You go to a grocery store. if you go to a grocery store and they have Coke but they don't have Pepsi, you look at that really strange.
Right.
Right? Because there's different drugs for different folks. You have to make sure you do offer both of those options. Also, keep in mind too, the statistics right now, about 52% of the industry has a Medicare Advantage plan. The Med Sup is about 24 to 26 right now. So it has decreased in the past couple of years, but it hasn't decreased proportionately to what Medicare Advantage has increased. So what that is telling me is that you are seeing less of a switch from Med Sup to Medicare Advantage, and more of people who are on a Med Sup stay on the Med Sup, and more new people are getting on the Medicare Advantage route. So just know that like one might be growing, but it may not be sustainable. We'll talk about that more here in a little bit.
Right.
Let's go on to kind of what we were talking about earlier. The second question we want to answer, what is the best option for my client? We kind of hit on this. Med Sup is not better than Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage is not worse than a Med Sup, vice versa. But I think you were kind of hitting on this earlier.
Well, for each individual client, one will be better or one will be preferred over. It might be completely different. For one friend might say, hey, I absolutely love my Medicare Advantage. You have to get on a Medicare Advantage. And then whenever they step into your office, you look at it, you go, I don't know, actually, Medicare supplements might work better for your lifestyle, works better for your finances, the way that you like to finance, works better for blah, 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 whatever it may be. So sometimes it always just comes down to, what does their life look like? How do they want to spend their money? What do they want to budget? How often are they going to the doctor? It's going to depend on each individual person and household.
I like to say what's best for what's good for your lifestyle and your wallet.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I word that. There is no if-then statement. And that's something that we're kind of having to come to terms with. It used to be, leading up to the past couple years, it used to be, if you are in a rural area, if you are unhealthy, if you are high income, then you need to go here. We're starting to see that those if-then statements really don't apply to the decision if there's a Med Sup versus a Medicare Advantage anymore. And so this is something where, again, it's your goal is to educate your clients on the pros and the cons and the risks of each, and seeing which one fits their lifestyle and seeing which one fits their wallet.
And even that being said, kind of tying it back to the last slide, like which one should I be offering? Sometimes what people want and what in general works best for them actually ends up being a case where they're not able to get it. So for example, they're not able, with their health conditions, they really, really want a Med Sup, but they just can't get on really anything too much. Medicare Advantage might be one of their best options, or if they like let their premiums lapse and they can't, being able to offer the Medicare Advantage, that might not be what they really, really want, but it's the only way that they're going to be able to have like any solid coverage. So you have to keep that in mind as well.
So let's get into, now I want to get into, it's like, what is the best option for your client? These are some things that you need to consider if you are going to represent, which you should, both Med Sup and Medicare Advantage. When you are guiding your clients to a decision, here are some things that you need to consider. We have it kind of like, it's a great for clients too, but it's kind of like a pro-con list that is also changing rapidly. So Medicare supplements, what types of clients tend to go the Medicare supplement routes? Number one is going to be clients who travel often. The main reason for that is because Medicare supplements, I think it's 98% of providers out there accept Medicare. And so if they accept Medicare, they accept the Medicare supplement. The only exception that is going to be in Colorado. Colorado has some wonky rules that some places only accept Medicare Advantage plans, not Medicare supplements.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Colorado, if you're in Colorado, double check with the providers. But like if you are somebody who is traveling often, you have a grandkid in New York and a grandkid in California, a Med Sup is probably going to be the option that you want to go with.
Now, there is a little asterisk, put an asterisk on this. We'll get into this with Medicare Advantages, but national networks, they're a thing. They're going to become more popular. We predict. So with those big names, you have those national networks. We'll talk about them in just a second, but basically they're kind of a loophole. They're kind of a way for Medicare Advantage plans to be able to give you coverage all over the country. So maybe a new way that you can think about traveling often instead of traveling often is someone who just wants the ease, the comfort of just
Yes.
knowing
just
that
go
they
to a
can.
hospital, go to a doctor.
I don't have
I
to
don't have
worry
to
about
research
if
it.
it's this, if I have the right plan that has
Mhm.
someone who just wants the ease of networks.
Literally, like what it's going to come down to, we're going to go through these points, but really what it comes down to is I'm a MedSup client because I'm lazy.
Yep.
I'm okay to pay a
Preach.
premium and not have to think
Mhm.
about anything else. I don't have to research. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about tracking my bills and making sure that I've paid certain things. I am a MedSup client because I just want to set it and forget it.
Right. Exactly.
Living in a rural area, the reason why we're seeing this again less and less is because rural areas for Medicare Advantage plans tend to be less rich in benefits, because Medicare Advantage plans get their funding. CMS pays a Medicare Advantage company funding for every life that they are insuring, every person they're managing their care for. When you are in a more densely populated area, then you actually get richer benefits because that plan gets more money because there's more people on the plans. So rural areas, because those plans end up getting less funding from CMS, rural areas tend to not have the richest benefits. You're still going to have good benefits. And now we're starting to see that, like, we're seeing a lot of companies. There used to be 5 years ago, a lot of counties didn't have a single Medicare Advantage plan.
Right.
Now rural areas have tons of options because of the growth of Medicare Advantage. But just sometimes those rural areas may not have as rich of benefits. And so the cons don't outweigh the pros of Medicare Advantage plans, and it's just worth to pay the premium when it's up.
Mm-hmm. And like we said, take that sort of with a grain of salt because things are changing. So this isn't like a die hard sort of rule, but just keep that in mind if you're working in areas that have, that's a little bit more rural.
Like where I grew up, my neighbors were sheep.
Right, exactly.
So like maybe, my family wouldn't do well with a Medicare Advantage plan because one, we don't have a lot of doctors there. Like we don't have a lot of doctors in our area.
Right,
so like you have to like be really selective that like the networks are there.
Right.
And two, again, the benefits just aren't going to be as rich because sheep can't be insured on Medicare.
Well, right, exactly. And you don't have like 4 different gyms around you where the gym benefit, that's not really a thing.
We have tractor tires we have to lift.
Yeah, that's right.
Hay bales we gotta buy.
Hay bales, yeah.
You know what? Some sheep we gotta. I'm like really.
Mutton, mutton.
I've never owned a sheep.
Wrestling.
I don't know why I'm talking about sheep so much. The number 3 thing is going to be that they visit the doctor often. Now, be careful. What we mean by this is if somebody that they have the doctors that they're very loyal to, specialists that they want to make sure they never have an issue seeing and going and needing a referral for their specialist. Somebody who is going to I would say who will hold the primary use of the plan, which is paying for when you are sick. If that is going to be like, they don't care about anything else. They just know that if they get sick, they will be covered. A MedSup is going to be an ideal option for them. I say be careful about this. We've actually kind of changed our tune on how we represent this. We used to say, if they're sick, go MedSup. I don't disagree with that. I do think that's best for the client. However, we know that the highest utilization of insurance is going to be the turning 65 market. Reason for that is because a lot of them are waiting for that hip surgery, that knee surgery. They're waiting for those Medicare benefits before they really start doing some significant procedures. Mm-hmm. That's killing Medicare supplement companies because they're the lowest paying premium group, but they're the highest utilization. So you're seeing huge loss ratios because sicker people tend to go to Medicare supplements. And so it's just something to keep in mind. I don't advocate that sick people should go to Medicare supplements. I do advocate for if you have a lot of specialists, if you're really loyal to your doctors, if the primary use of that plan, which is if I'm sick, I want to get better. Yep. If that is your goal, you need to go the MedSup route.
Yeah. Nothing to add on that.
Okay. I mean, facts. Like I step on a soapbox there.
No, that's great.
So,
and then for people who don't like change, like we talked about earlier, for some of us that are lazy, and then also people who might have just really busy lives or they just don't want to fool with it, set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about this annual contract. You don't have to worry about benefits changing year to year. You don't have to worry about anything as far as that. Rate changes maybe, but that's a conversation that you can have whenever it comes up. But other than that, unlike Medicare Advantage plans, you know what you're going to be covered for, and you know how much it's going to cost and all that sort of jazz. So
you don't like all the billing on a MedSup is on the back end. So as long as you pay your Part B deductible, depending if you're on an F or something else, then like after that, you're good for the year. You're not interacting with your healthcare finances. And that can be, that can be a huge stress relief for somebody when they're no longer having to deal with their bills, especially somebody who's come from group, who's been utilizing that plan and is used to having to like, I already paid this copay. Like I went to the emergency room. I already paid $500 to go to the emergency room. Why do I have another $1,600 I have to pay? Well, on a med sup, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Right.
I would also mention with this, keeping in mind when it comes to Medicare supplements, Sadie did mention that premiums are really the only thing that change year to year. Keep in mind, guys, don't make premiums out worse than what they're meant to be. Deft research indicates that a person won't actually start shopping for a new Medicare supplement until that premium hits a $25 increase. The best thing you can do as an agent is just to prepare your clients and toward the expectation of getting that rate increase. So if you're in an issue age state, meaning that like when you get a med sup premium at 65, you will pay the 65-year-old premium until you have a book of business increase, which happens about once a year for med sup carriers. Make sure you know, hey, around July, around January, February, whenever you can expect that, you will most likely be seeing a rate increase. If you are uncomfortable with that rate increase, give me a call. I can always shop and see if I can save you rates on premium. But if you're comfortable with that, then you can just stay put that year. It's just about setting expectation.
Yeah.
If you're in attained age state, which is basically if I go from 70 to 71, I'm now going to pay the 71-year-old premium. Plus, I'll also get a book of business rate increase then as well. Again, not a huge deal. They're typically not huge rate increases as long as you set the expectation to say, hey, you may see multiple rate increases a year, most likely just one whenever you're around your birthday and one whenever the book of business. If you set the expectation, it really isn't a big deal. $25 tends to be that magic number. So any questions on Medicare Supplement? Again, they're the set it and forget it. I'm willing to pay a higher premium for less stress, less risk, and less involvement.
Yes. And like we said earlier, some people, based on the way that they like to finance, a higher premium actually works a lot better for them because then they know how much it's budgeting. Yes, exactly. They don't have to worry about as many costs of all that sort of stuff.
They don't have to self-finance.
Yes. So even from like a finance side, sometimes people just like it better.
Well, and that's something that we see going into the Medicare Advantage side. What a lot of people used to say is my rich clients will go med sup because they can afford the premium. My lower income clients will go Medicare Advantage plan because they're low to no premium. And that is so incorrect on how these plans should be sold. If you are having a client that's struggling to come up with $150 a month, how are you going to help them come up with $3,200 or $6,700 if they go to the hospital and that's their max amount of pocket? So just making sure that like finances actually have little to nothing to do with if med sup or Medicare Advantage plan is the right route. So clients who typically go towards the Medicare Advantage plans, again, you're kind of going to see like the opposite of the med sups. Number one, living in a highly populated area. We've kind of hit on this. If you look at a plan in like Las Vegas, they have some of the richest premiums there. They have like $1,000 max out of pocket, $0 premium, $0 copay, $0 specialist, and crazy dental, crazy hearing, all that stuff. Compared to in Colombia, you may get a $0 premium, but a $4,500 max, $50 specialist copay. So higher populated areas means that you're going to have richer benefits.
A lot of that, like we said, just comes down to how they're financed or how the CMS is giving money to those counties. And also they just have more resources to have more benefits. So makes sense.
Now, the next one we have on here is doesn't visit the doctor often. And really, we need to kind of switch that mindset. Instead of saying like low utilization, different priorities. Medicare Advantage plans are designed to keep people healthy. That's why Medicare Advantage plans will have the bells and whistles like gym membership, over-the-counter medications, acupuncture. They'll have things on there like dental, vision, and hearing coverage, things that are like lower cost, but really can prevent major health concerns. So Medicare Advantage plans are designed for people that like, I don't see the doctor. I don't want to see a doctor. I'm willing to invest. I would rather put more investment on keeping me healthy versus a med sup. If I can get sick, I want to get better.
Right.
Medicare Advantage, I don't want to get sick in the first place.
Yes.
That's kind of how we need to view these plans and how those plans are designed to help clients.
Yes, absolutely. And then also, speaking of which, Medicare Advantage plans are able to have cool benefits. They're able to have kind of bells and whistles and stuff like that. And then that can also be geared, and is with decent plans, towards the Medicaid eligible crowd. So if you are working with someone, or actually this is a really, really underserved market,
Crazy
and we
underserved.
honestly could talk about that all day. We hear it from carriers all day, every day.
Like, they're begging us, please give us more agents who are
Yes.
writing D-SNP.
Yes, exactly. It's a huge underserved market, but Medicare Advantage plans are really awesome for those who are lower income. And actually, they're the only option if they want a Medicare plan and they are full Medicaid status. So those D-SNP plans, really awesome. They're just Medicare Advantage plans. For the new people here, they're just Medicare Advantage plans with benefits geared towards people who are lower income. So they're going to give you more money towards healthy food. Sometimes they give you money towards utilities and gas and things like that. So
yeah, crazy benefits on a Medicare Advantage plan that is geared for the Medicaid eligible people. I will say, keep in mind, it's illegal. If somebody who is Medicaid eligible, it is illegal to sell them a Medicare Supplement policy. Also, keep in mind that if you do enroll somebody on Medicaid into a Medicare Advantage plan, it doesn't have to be a D-SNP plan, but D-SNP plans tend to be geared better for the Medicaid. But if you do enroll them, you just got to make sure you check the networks, because it can affect what doctors they see. Because if the doctor accepts Medicaid but doesn't accept that Medicare Advantage plan, then like they can't use that doctor anymore. So when you are a that's kind of the only, I'm not going to say downside, but the only thing you really have to keep an eye on when you're enrolling somebody on Medicaid into a Medicare Advantage plan is just really check out those networks. But it's crazy. I mean, again, they get the transportation, they get their gas paid for, they get cell phones paid for, they get internet paid for, all paid for by the company. So it is a huge opportunity. It's kind of the same thing with veterans. We do know people who are receiving, and again, I'm not talking about TRICARE or TRICARE for Life. I'm talking about people who are on a VA benefit. People who are on a VA benefit tend to love Medicare Advantage plans. They do have to get Part B of Medicare, which a lot of VA people decided not to get because they didn't think they would use a civilian doctor. So they do have to have Part B of Medicare, but they can get second opinions. They can get, again, you're talking about, they get incredible dental benefits. They get incredible over-the-drug medicines, over-the-counter drug medications. They get gym membership, everything like this. It's incredible how much extra stuff a veteran can get when they enroll into these plans as well.
This is going to be great for those veterans who really are like go-getters and really are proactive about their health and making sure that they're wanting to stay on top of it and use those benefits and stuff like that. So keep that in mind if you ever come across someone, because, you know, they get all of that benefit. They get a lot of medical benefits through their VA, but Medicare Advantage is kind of a cherry on top whenever it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's true. Like, I will say my experience. So my uncle is a veteran. He goes to the VA doctor. He actually does have like an incredible retirement benefits because he worked for the state for years, but he like, and has all these options, but he will only go to the VA doctor because his thought process is, I earned the VA. It's a rite of passage. I earned the VA. I'm going to go to this provider.
Yeah.
So like, he's not interested in getting like a Medicare plan for things like that, but he does really like the idea of having the transportation, getting free Tylenol and ibuprofen and things like that, and not having to pay extra for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, ask about national networks. We touched on it a little bit earlier. Sadie did particularly. But if you look at these, I call them the big boys. If you look at Humana, Aetna, United Healthcare, Anthem, some of those larger, not so much the regional guys, but those larger carriers, they have a lot of these plans. Specifically, their plans will have something called national networks. And what a national network means is that if you, like, for example, UHC has this. I'm in Missouri. If I go to Florida and I'm traveling in Florida, if I'm on a plan that has a national network, I can go to a doctor that accepts United Healthcare. They don't have to accept my particular plan, because why would they? Why would they accept a Missouri plan in Florida? Right. But they have to accept United Healthcare, which we know United Healthcare is a huge name. A lot of providers do accept them. So it really broadens up when we're like, you know, you got to be careful with networks. National networks are making it to where you have to be less concerned about, is my doctor accepted, yes or no? And what if I'm traveling, can I get care in a different state?
Yes, this is a really big thing that a really big benefit that really competes with Medicare supplements. Back in the day, it really was. Not even back in the day. Whenever I first started working here a few years ago. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. This has been a significant change.
Yes, it was like if you travel often, it really just makes sense as far as your healthcare goes to get a Medicare supplement. In a couple years ago, I think it was like 2 AEPs ago, I think is whenever we really started seeing these national networks. It was like, oh, this is kind of a big deal, because this is sometimes that is the one big thing that makes someone go to a Medicare supplement. So this is a game changer. And hopefully, and I would assume in the future, we'll see even more and more of those sorts of things coming on the plans. But right now, that's a big thing to keep in mind, especially for those Medicare supplement clients. Hey, just keep in mind. So yeah.
So again, with Medicare Advantage plans, who is best suited for them? Basically, they're going to be people who are willing to be more invested in their healthcare.
Yeah.
They're wanting to be proactive. They're wanting to keep themselves healthy. They're willing to pay a lower premium up front in exchange for having to be more invested in the billing and the financing yourself. I don't know. Be able to do that later.
Yeah.
That's right. They're okay with just being more invested in that. Some things I do, and I want to answer. I think this is Bud. It says Frank, but I think you're Bud. It says what's going on about basically national networks versus a PPO. Very similar. The difference is like when you're using a PPO. What a PPO versus an HMO. A PPO means that you get coverage, you do have a network you're supposed to abide by, but if you go out of network, you'll still get coverage. It's just not as rich of coverage. Instead of having like a $10 copay, you may have a $50 copay. What the national network is saying is that like you will be basically, if you go to this doctor that accepts that company, then you will be charged as if you went in network. So it's lower copays, lower costs, lower maximum out of pocket, and the money does, and what you do spend does count towards that in network out of maximum out of pocket compared to a PPO, which is usually like a $10,000 maximum out of pocket. So so similar, the freedom is similar, but it's much better financially to go to your HMO versus to go to your in provider with a PPO than it is out of network. So some things to keep in mind, guys, with going into the Medicare Advantage route. We're seeing a lot of questions about like, is this sustainable? The growth, again, in the past 3 years, the Medicare Advantage route has basically almost doubled than what they were. They went from about 32% to over 52% at this point, 34, 36% to 52. It is something, what I imagine we're going to see with the Medicare Advantage market is that we're going to stop seeing people who are currently on a med sup, as long as they were sold it correctly, if they were not told about Medicare Advantage plans or whatever, if they made the decision between a med sup and a Medicare Advantage plan, I truly think we're going to stop seeing people leave their med sup to go MA, right? And some of the reason why I believe in that is because I think the compliance right now, back in 2020, and well, actually thanks to COVID, when everybody had to go remote, call centers went rampant. We saw a ton of complaints, about a 250% increase in complaints in the selling year 2020 and 2021. I just think that there's more education, more people are understanding the differences between Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage plans. I do think Medicare Advantage plans are going to stay right around 50%, maybe drop a little below 50%. I don't think you're going to see a max exit of the Medicare Advantage market. However, I do know if we look at the trends of the Medicare Advantage market leading up to this coming up AEP, so every year leading up to this very moment, Medicare Advantage plans have gotten higher and higher dollars from CMS. You know, went from we get 3% increase in your funding, 5%, all the way up to like an 8% increase in their funding last year, which was huge. Plus, these Medicare Advantage plans were getting a ton of money because they had really high star ratings. Basically, there's a whole algorithm that says how much funding a Medicare Advantage plan gets. We, this year, are actually seeing less funding than ever, not than ever, than what we have been seeing being invested in a Medicare Advantage plan. This year, we're seeing less than like a 3% increase from CMS, which last year was like 5% to 8%. We're seeing 3% increase that CMS is giving to Medicare Advantage plans this year. And we're seeing some star ratings plummet. Some plans that had some really high star ratings, we're seeing them take a star and even a star and a half decreases, which affects how much money CMS gives them as well. So I think that we are going to see maybe plans. I will say that I think your big carriers, again, Humana, United Healthcare, Aetna, Anthem, Cigna, I think they're going to be able to stay put with their benefits. I don't think you're going to see a ton of decrease in benefits for those plans, but I don't think you're going to see the massive increase of benefits that we've been seeing up until this year. So I think this year we're going to see a very stable AEP, not a lot of movement, not a lot of changes. Pay close attention to those carriers that have a 5-star rating now. I'm looking like at Essence, at Devoted, the ones that have 5-star ratings. They're going to look really good next year.
Yeah.
I think everybody else is just going to try to stay put. So I don't think you're going to see, you're not going to continue to see as mass exit from Medicare Supplement to Medicare Advantage plans.
Which honestly doesn't sound too bad from our side. From the agent perspective.
Thrilled.
Hey, you
I'm
know,
thrilled. And then also keep in mind too, the last thing I'll mention about like what's the future of Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage plans, because I do want to get into what's better for the agency. Also keep in mind what the Inflation Reduction Act is. What the Inflation Reduction Act is something that's going to basically, it's an act that goes into basically covering medications and putting a maximum out of pocket on prescription drug plans. Right now, there is no max out of pocket on PDPs. This would put like a $2,600 or $2,500 max out of pocket on prescription drug plans. That doesn't affect MedSups because they don't cover drug plans.
Right.
That's really going to affect your Medicare Advantage plans because they do, for the most part, cover drug plans. And so that goes into effect by 2030, but we already are seeing some impacts of that affecting. So Medicare Advantage plan companies are going to have to find a way to not hemorrhage money due to the Inflation Reduction Act. So I think you're going to start seeing, you're not going to see as many Part B give backs. You're not going to see these crazy benefits that you're seeing on these other plans. So I think the market is self-correcting to an extent. I just don't think you're going to see what we've gotten used to on the Medicare Advantage side, which are just these crazy benefits and these crazy zero premiums and all that stuff. I think those days are, if not behind us, going to very quickly be behind us.
Yeah.
So,
well,
that's just Olivia's little crystal
listen,
ball.
that was some super good stuff.
Just ask me.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm done. Okay. Sadie, take it away. What's better for the agency? What's going to make you more money? MedSups or Medicare Advantage plans?
Short answer, it kind of all like in the end flushes out to be the same. Especially whenever it comes to like the lifespan of how often people are on one versus the other and the commissions and sort of that sort of stuff. We do see that there is a difference in the amount of years that people choose to stay on a Medicare supplement versus a Medicare Advantage. So
yeah. So basically what it comes out to is that Medicare supplements, the average lifespan of a Medicare supplement is right around 7 years, meaning that a person will not shop plans for about 7 years on a MedSup. That's compared to about 4.5 to a Medicare Advantage plan. So I will say most Medicare supplement plans do pay commissions up to 6 or up to 7 years, and they're the same commission for that entire period. The majority of them, some of them will be a little different there, but the majority of them will pay that. We're actually starting to see some carriers like United Healthcare and some other ones come out with lifetime commissions, meaning as long as that policy is active and they're paying their premiums, your commissions will not change. But for the most part, it's about a 7-year commission line. I will say that MedSup commissions tend to be lower than Medicare Advantage commissions or percentage, but they tend to be substantially MedSup premiums, or excuse me, a MedSup commission tends to be substantially lower than a Medicare Advantage commission is. But that's because, keep in mind, Medicare supplement plans are incredibly stable. They're on the books for 7 years, and they take little to no, I'm not gonna say little to no, but they don't require nearly as much hand-holding as Medicare Advantage. You don't have to teach somebody how to use a MedSup. You don't have to shop MedSups constantly. You don't have to get involved with the billing and the claims with the Medicare supplement policy. So lower premiums, but it's a lot less work from you, the agent, a lot less resources from you, the agent, compared to a Medicare Advantage plan. Now, a Medicare Advantage plan, the way that their commissions work is that you get a really I don't know how else to say it. You get a really high commission if that's the first time that client has ever been on a Medicare Advantage plan. It's a substantial commission, and then that commission gets cut in half the second year that they're on any Medicare Advantage plan. But even whenever that commission's cut in half, it's still equal, if not even higher than a Medicare supplement commission. So the commissions are better than Medicare supplements. However, they require annual shopping. The book of business is less sticky because it's kind of the most people like call centers go after Medicare Advantage business more than any other business. You do have to shop it every year because that plan is an annual contract. It will most likely look different the next year. So you do have to be involved with your clients every single year. And because they are involved with their billing, there's a lot more room for error, incorrect billing. There's basically a lot more maintenance work on you, the agent. So you have to invest more resources into a Medicare Advantage client, but the commissions are there for it.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately why Sadie mentioned it comes out in the wash. Both are worth writing because again, it's just, do you want to invest time or do you want to, you know, take a cut in commissions? It comes out in the wash. They are both absolutely worth you investing in.
And I think that's something to really, really keep in mind, especially if you're new in the industry and you don't have any, it's just you right now. If you're like a one-man show, you're new into this, you have to keep in mind that like time is huge. Time is money. Exactly. So sometimes it's easy, I think, whenever people first join this, they're like, I'm going to make $100,000 in my first year. I'm going to do this. You can make a ton of money being in this industry, which yeah,
Listen,
but not in your first year. And
Medicare is a slow burn.
Yes, exactly.
Medicare is a slow, and it's a, I mean, like those renewals, girl, your PNC, your life insurance, nothing else is going to make you, it's going to help you retire the way that Medicare, I mean, those renewals are nice and they will help you, but you're not going to get rich quick in the Medicare world.
Right. So you have to keep that in mind whenever you come down to not just how much commission money you're going to make off of, but how much time in the back end you're going to be spending on it.
For sure.
So just keep that in mind.
So guys, that's what we have for you today. We didn't get, Bud, thank you for asking a question. We didn't get a ton. I know it's because we were so thorough in our explanations. That has to be it. But if you do at this time have any questions, comments, concerns, threats, and or promises, please put them in the questionnaire box because we do want to make sure we appreciate you. We appreciate you spending your time here today. If you are just like, I'm really shy, I don't want to talk to anybody, you can go to our website, smsteam.net. We have a ton of resources that we talked about today, both there and on our training site, sms-university.com. But our smsteam.net, we actually have a live chat feature there. It goes from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 9 to 3 Monday on Friday. But you can go ahead and talk to our agent resources team right there. When you talk to them, you're not getting a chat, like a bot chat bot. You're not getting a chat bot. You are getting a real human being on that team who can help you right then and there. So if you can also email us. My email address is olivia.richardson@smsteam.net. Happy to answer any and all questions for you. And of course, the old-fashioned phone number as well.
Yes, and if you want to dive more into these particular products and kind of the basics and the technical stuff of it, we have Medicare 101 courses on our university website. So please feel free to go check those out. We even have some little flashcards at the bottom for you to test your knowledge. If you're someone who's new to the industry or someone who's been in here for a while and just, you know, doesn't work with those nitty-gritty technical things on a day-to-day basis, which is most of you, you can go in there and check that out. And then also we are updating our website and our events page right now. There is a lot of stuff that we are putting on there for Q3. We're so excited. It's going to be full. Really, there's anything you want to cover. Be looking out for those rollouts. Be looking out for more trainings for AEP coming up. We're even inviting, you'll be starting to see more faces from people that you talk to on the phone in those trainings. So really exciting stuff. Please feel free to look at that. And then also, kind of related to what we chat about today, we have our Medicare Quick Start. That is one of those things that will be, that's one of those events that we'll be putting on those pages. Look out for that. That'll be coming up here soon. So if you're new to the industry or if you just want to get back to the basics, go ahead and register for that once we get that up there. But yeah, long story short, too long didn't read. Check out our training events page.
You have so much. I'm really excited. I think the one that I'm most looking forward to is the AEP, not organization, AEP. Operations. Thank you. That's going to be in August. And that's like a full week training that we do is like an hour a day. But like if you are going to be, if you have an admin team or you're an agency of one or two and you're your own admin, you really should go. We're going to teach you how to navigate carrier sites. We're going to teach you how to navigate Medicare Center. We're going to teach you how to navigate CMS. We're going to basically like Medicare.gov.
landscape.
How do we help you have a successful AEP where you can be productive and not busy? You'll need to go to that.
For sure.
That's all I have.
Yay.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We will talk to you soon. So until next time, guys, thanks again.
Thank you.